Welcome, everyone. I am Mama Rita, also known as Mama Rita Money, and I believe now is a great time to feel good about money. And a lot of people might think I am just off my rocker. What's going on in the world? A lot of things are going on that aren't right, but a lot of things that are right are going on. And I think that if we can focus or find ways for those that want to lead and master conversations around money, their communication around money, their relationships with money, then we ought to have a focus about that, because if nobody does, nobody will, and nobody will achieve. So I want to thank you first off for being here this evening and checking out our program and show. A little bit about me. I really started learning about money. I started off as a kid. I think we all do. Every day we find money, we lose money. We get our first jobs and we learn a little bit more about money. And we learn that sometimes when we get our first paycheck, someone else has their hand in our earnings. Uncle Sam might be taking a little bit more than might be rightfully his. But the reality is in life is that the rules and regulations around our money and money earnings, they're all there for us to play the game and win it, really, to be successful. But it takes a little bit of work. It takes a little bit of I'm going to say a little bit of tenacity, a little bit of learning. So if you think about a recipe, it's a dash of this, a dash of that. And with little steps before you know it, you are succeeding at keeping most of your money. I say empowering the 5 financial superpowers, where we get to the purpose around our money so that this way we have clarity around it. We protect our money. We persevere with it, we preserve it, and we create unlimited possibilities. How many of you out there want to have unlimited possibilities around your money? I think all of us do if we thought we had the choice. And we do. And it's a matter of deciding. And so today I want to take a deep dive around having conversations around money. And we're going to focus on the AAA trifecta, as I call it, and that is our awareness around money, our attitude around our money relationship, and the actions that we can take. This way we can achieve those unlimited possibilities, prosper and flourish abundantly. So I am going to start to do a little bit of a share and share some stories. And along the way, these are things that I have learned. So I said I started learning around money when I was little. And I ended up working, actually, I wanted to be a teacher. And, you know, lo and behold, life might have had some, I'm going to say, some rocks or things that got thrown in my pathway that created a shift and a change around becoming an educator, becoming a teacher, a little bit differently, so that I could show up right here, right now, today for those that want to learn, those that want to grow, those that want to expand their knowledge and be empowered. Because the reality is right now, money education isn't taught in schools. As a matter of fact, money has become a taboo topic, unless you find a great resources where you can have a village of people that come together and hold each other accountable, have comfortable conversations. Yes, I said comfortable conversations around money, and focus on elevating one another. Are there such communities? Oh my gosh. What's really super cool is those communities are nationwide. For you women, specifically women, if you want a woman-only forum, there are forums called Wine, Women, and Wealth that are held across the nation. And so you can, you know, message me and I'll give you my contact and site information if you want to know about getting in touch with such communities. I mean, can you imagine? Like, I've had Denise Arand, who's the creator of Wine, Women, Wealth. And you can see what a genuine woman of heart she is, because she created really this village where women can show up, have some conversations, have a little bit of wine, have a little bit of girl time, and do what women do best: talk, chat, share amazing good things together, and really support and elevate. And I call it sharing their fabulousness. And if you've never been to one, you should check one out to see if there's one in your local area. And then there are workshops out there. There's all sorts of different educational. And this is, I'm going to say, this is how I started. I was like, okay, I want to learn about money. So how do I do it? So this is why I'm going to share some steps today about 6 resources or thought processes and concepts so that you can start engage in elevating your money story, which means the way you live it today. So it's not just a story, it's an actual pathway to living the story and achieving what you truly want. So for me, it was definitely a challenging path. I actually started working with financial companies back in 2007, and I really had a different mission and vision and purpose and goal. And in the sense of, for me, it was always about the other person. How could I leave the person better? It wasn't about earning a commission or a fee like many of us experience. And I'm just going to talk about experiences. You know, how many of us have ever gotten in front of a financial professional and you felt like your head was spinning and they were talking another language, or they're like, yeah, don't worry. You can just, I'll take care of you. No worries. So the reality is we're never learning. We didn't learn in school. So where do we go? You know, I kept asking the question, and if you keep asking yourself the question, then you will get the answer. And the answer came in the form of having a major life event happen so that this way I could kick myself in gear and get educated by people who have done it. And so putting all that together, that's what I bring to you, along with what's going on current in the world. So, you know, COVID has definitely taken a toll on our world, on many people's finances. But the reality is we will have money coming in and we will have money going out, and it's what we do with it that's the most important. So how do we protect it? How do we keep it? And how do we flourish? So with that, I am going to share my screen with you and share a presentation that I put together so that this way you can see, and I apologize, let's see some technical issues here. I want to make sure we are all seeing this together. And let's see. All right. I apologize. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Let me go back to where we were. And this is awesome because it's live and being recorded. And this is not working the way I had wanted. All right, let's see if we can get this to work this time. Let's see. And it's not working the way I want this time. So I think what we're going to have to do is, okay, here we go, is get this moving in a way where I can see it and I can share with you. Oh, perfect. There's a little window. Now this is super, super tiny now. So I apologize. Let's get this where it presents itself. And we can move it right along. All right. Awesome. We finally got it started. Okay. So the first aspect is actually, I want to take a step back, is really, you know, wealth is never a straight line. You get to own your stories of hardship or well-learned lessons. And really the reality is up to you, Because for success to take shape and have a brilliant future, it's really based on what are the lessons you learn and that you get to create that brilliant future. And every day you wake up with the power to build a brand new story. And I love that saying. I love, love, love that, because many, many people today are really waiting for 2021 to change things around. When the reality is you already have the power to change everything around. And really trying is not, if something happens and the situation is a failure, you yourself are not a failure. You get to try again. And many of us have heard of many successful models. I'm sure you can think of them. And, I think Thomas Edison is an old school one. But in reality, there are many people that have tried and tried and tried, and that they really, the way that they end up having and achieving success is that they just tried more often than you and I. So I think the first area is to really focus, I think, on this AAA trifecta. So what is your awareness? What is your attitude? And what is your action? First thing is to be coachable. I consider myself a coachable creator. So that means that people share things with me. I have mentors and accountability partners, and as many do. And then I get to learn from their stories or live in my stories. So I talked about hardship versus lessons. So hardships, really, when we have our hardships, then what can happen is that we could have that victim mentality, right? That means we're in crisis and we're really focusing on ourselves and the woe is me, and that we don't know how to get out of it. And the quickest way to get out is to ask to get out. And you ask by asking someone, so that maybe they can share, you can borrow their confidence to be able to move forward. And I know a lot of times this seems like a really small piece, but I can't tell you how many times in life where I've been down that I looked up to someone that then I was able to then succeed. So it's a choice. You get to be that victim or victor. And the victor is, am I taking a choice and a chance to lead and model for myself? Can I do it? How can I do it? Well, a lot of people don't realize that we're leading every day and every moment of our life. Whether it's we're up and leading people to be happy and feeling up, or we're down and if we're showing up, if we're showing up with a negative space, in a negative space with a negative mindset, then we're leading people in that path as well. And a lot of these stories happen because of, family circumstances or past circumstances that happen to you, societalisms, things that we've been taught and educated from society. And so I talked about that choice, which is that freeway to choosing to have, again, that awareness that you actually do have a choice. And sometimes we just feel like choosing being down. We need time to rest and recoup. And if we're looking at it that way, then we also create a deadline for how long you're going to stay in that place, so that you make a decision that, okay, I need to regroup. I need to grieve. I need to feel angry, frustrated, pissed off at what COVID has taken away from us financially, from the businesses, from my friends, the fear that it has ensued. But am I going to let it stop me? Well, no. Maybe today, maybe for 24 hours, maybe I need a weekend. But after that, I'm going to take a step. What's that step? It's a baby step. It could be a baby step. It could be a giant leap. Depends on who you are and where you're at. So what am I going to spend time doing to create that shift and change? Am I, when it comes to our money, many people are talking about money more now than ever before. They are asking questions because now we want to know, what do we do with what we've got, And then how do we build going forward? Because we will build and go forward. So, a lot of times people don't want to talk budgets, but they do want to talk spending plans. So if you want to talk about a spending plan versus a budget, the difference is in the feeling of restriction if that's what's going on in your life. And so we need to create criteria. What are our principles and values? And that leads me into our second topic, actually, of how do we ask ourselves empowering questions, right? What are those lessons that we learned? What went well? What could we improve? What mistakes could we avoid? Or how could we have avoided this altogether? Because there are people that have avoided this altogether. Sometimes you hear with best laid plans, things can go, again, awry. They can go off that path. It's not always a straight path. So most of the people that I know that are doing well during COVID, that are flourishing, have something in common. They know their core values. They know exactly what they are, and they let their values lead their lives. So as you can see, I created this where this is what my observation was. We hear about the rock, pebble, and sand story, but I added the water because if you've ever heard the jar of life story, it's about putting the rocks. If you put the water in first to the jar gets filled up, and that's your environment, and that's your whole existence. And if it's a good environment, great. And if it's a bad environment, then you have no way to change it because your jar, that's all it's filled with. If instead you put the rocks in first, those are those core values. And I'll share mine today. Mine are love, courage, wisdom, integrity, and service. And they do change over time, but not very much. There's variations. And I find that many people don't have the exact same values, but ones that are aligned with mine. And I think that's really important for mental strength is what is that environment that you're going to surround yourself with? So we'll get to that ultimately. So you start with those core values and you put those rocks in. Well, your pebbles, those are your life essentials. Those are things like food, shelter, clothing, making sure that you are healthy, have the means to keep healthy. And the sand, I think of the sandman. Those are the dreams, the things that you aspire. And if you add those next, you can still find that the jar is not completely full because you can add that all-encompassing environment of encouragement, love, elevation, whatever is positive to build yourself up in the world. But it does take commitment. And it does take conviction. So asking yourselves the right questions so that you can commit to that criteria of anytime you are working with someone, especially around finances, you will find that someone that matches your values, because then you can have more confidence that they'll be serving you. So take time to write down your 5 top values. And if you're watching, type them in or let me know about what values are your most highest and most precious core values. Because again, that leads to the criteria. So there's a criteria around monies. It's kind of like assigning what they are going to do. What is their purpose? Assigning those dollars as if they're soldiers. Are they going to be for your fun bucket? A lot of times when you have a budget, you don't see fun bucket on there. You don't even have future bucket. You may have retirement, but sometimes that's the retirement plan, but not necessarily a travel plan. So it's really creating a criteria that works best for you that then leads to a plan of execution, right? Purposely leveraged actions now so that you can implement them right then and there. So for mental strength, first thing is exercising, right? Being aware that you need to take time to focus on those values, to create that positive attitude. So take time to write them down. That's the action. So time, making sure that there's self-care for you, making sure you're caring for your money. How many of you have scheduled a date with your money? And to build that relationship, any relationship we have to nurture and grow. But that means we have to spend time with that, with any resource that we want to utilize in the most effective way, or any person that we want to be with, right? So our family are resources. We're all energy. We all bring forth either positive energy or negative energy, and which one serves us best, right? You can't get a positive outcome by having a negative attitude, is what I heard once. So when you do this, exercising that muscle, right? Exercising mental strength, strengthening those neural pathways in our brains. And if your old ones and old stories say you can't, you get to create new ones. So I think one of the things that I can share personally is I know that in my life, I used to feel that I had to control everything. I had to plan everything out to a T, especially vacations. Many of you are out there, you'll spend weeks planning your vacations to the core, and then you'll end up on your vacation, and your vacation was supposed to be fun and relaxing. But you planned so many events, took control so much of the day that at the end of the vacation, you found out you ran out of time. You never got to relax. And when you came home, you felt like you needed a vacation from your vacation. I know there's many of you out there like that. So in that control, you actually lost control because you were so focused on holding tight to it that you didn't allow space and time for receiving rest. And that is so super important, is to create that time for yourself. And with your money, what that looks like is, making a monthly money date at a minimum, right? Just looking at your numbers, looking at your accounts. If you have debts, hopefully you'll have where you're paying them down, how you're going to do that. Because if you don't start to look at that, then that can't be created. Even if you're not sure where to start, and it's just by Googling and looking up, how do I look at where my money is at right now, right? You might get a budget. That's what they call them, a budget or an income and expense sheet. So you can do that simple step. It will help you gain clarity, because we can talk about things, but it evaporates into air. But if you put the words or the numbers to paper, there's a commitment level that happens. So I mentioned the word commitment, which scares people sometimes. But really all it is about setting an intention. Intention to do what you said you're going to do. If you want to have a better relationship with your money, calendar it in your time. And then sit down and do a little bit of research. Once you start to do the first step, you'll find you'll get into the next and the next and the next and the next. And then before you know it, you're taking more steps, and then you're at your goal. There is a quote where we overestimate what we could do in a year, and we underestimate what we can do in 5. So it's super important that even in the time frame that we have, we can shorten that to having we have a New Year's resolution. Many people are, okay, can't wait for my New Year's resolution. Well, I only have one New Year's resolution. That New Year's resolution is that I will have monthly resolutions around spending time with my money to build it, grow it, and flourish it. So you can do that with anything. Have a New Year's resolution to have a monthly resolution, whether it's for taking care of your health. It's just these checkpoints so that you can then create steps to creating new moments to achieve your success over and over and over again. So I keep on saying about writing it down. You can use a journal for it. I know old school, we used to just use a book and a journal, and we just wrote everything down in it. Now we have spreadsheets, and we can be as high tech as we want, or we can be paper oriented as we want. Sometimes it feels good to do the paper because, again, there's a neuroscience, there's a connection. It also connects us to our feelings. That's why sometimes I say the villains of procrastination come about, because we might have feelings of criticism or shame or blame, or feelings like we don't know enough or we can't grow enough, and we're making excuses. So it's really about the awareness of connecting with your feelings. Having an attitude of can do, right? I can do this. I will do this. I made a decision to do this. And then keeping accountable to your word and that relationship is super important. And it really can start with a simple step of creating an intention and writing it down. I intend for the year of 2021, my intention is to have a monthly money date with my money. Have a 1-hour session, a 2-hour session to look at all my numbers and create the space so that I can set another intention to pay off debt, another intention to grow my money, another intention to get educated, to flourish, and take the steps that you need one by one. And if you can't do it alone, again, reach out, find the right village of people that talk about money, that educate about money. You'll know. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be talked into anything, because you can say right now, I'm just exploring and expanding, or I'm looking at elevating my game. What's my next level? I want to hang out with people who know. And for right now, I'm in the research and development phase, just like people do with businesses. There's a research and development phase to growing your business. Every household is a business. It has money coming in, it has money going out. We're doing research and development. And this is how many businesses get created. They just start with that aspect, and then they have something that they're sharing or serving, whether it's a product or a service, and they grow into a business. It's almost a natural evolution that most people just haven't been made aware of. And then when you couple it with that, you can do it, and positive, then you get to take those actions. And can you imagine? It all starts with journaling it. Some people create a vision board. I even like to create every year. It's a simple thing, and I'm showing my simplistic nature, is I just start doodling. I start doodling things like following my star. So that I can show up better and support myself by having a focus that's outside of me, right? It's a guiding, what I call it's kind of like that guiding light. So we were talking about the intentional journaling, right? So you can do a brain dump, or you can use a guided journal. There's many. And I'll share mine. I'm trying to see where mine just went because I just had it. Here's one of them. But I have another one that's called Own Your Future. So there's different ones. Pick one that's best for you, that works best for you. I think I was writing in it earlier today, so I didn't have it right in front of me. Write affirmations in your journals, because that will help, again, the mental strengthening. Each thing aligns. Mental strength, journaling builds the mental strength. So you have these exercises, you're flexing those muscles. And use your journal as prompting, right? If you're setting the intentions and then you do look backs, then it prompts you of what is next for you. And let's see here. So I wanted to make sure each journaling prompt can be a next best step for you. So habits. And I'm all about sharing resources. And you may have heard me share before. Some of those prompts, one of the books that's my favorite is Atomic Habits by James Clear, because he talks about different steps that we each get to take so that we can move forward. And it's an amazing book to get you moving. So, with your intentional journaling, maybe the first step is buying a journal, or the first step could be opening it up. Might not necessarily be writing in it. And each time you work yourself up to creating that habit that you live so that you can be it. So you live it and be it. It also gets you organized. It gets the clutter out of your mind so that this way you know which steps to take without overwhelm. And let's see here. I wanted to share one more thing with you. All right. So it requires a rod. That doesn't look like a rod. It looks more like a wooden spoon of love. So if you ever grew up in the era where, spanking was appropriate, there was a saying that's most people note it from the Bible: spare the rod, spoil the child. Well, I like to look at this in a different perspective. The rod is loving, and the rod is respect, order, or obedience, and discipline. So really, this is about being a bold visionary, to be respectful of self and others, to create an order where you can jumpstart in, you get started. No excuses, right? If you're going to respect yourself and make a commitment to you, then and to others, you're going to jump in. You'll look up, have faith, right? Step out into the world, show up, and if you're really, really scared around it, focus on serving others and then let go. Just surrender to it all, because in that, when you do that process, little by little, those are steps. That's the rod that gets you over the hump. It gets you into being disciplined so that you can step into your greatness, so that you can step into the world of infinite possibilities that you share with the world. And with that, I'm going to take a commercial break with Dr. Lois Frankel, who talks about speaking up and standing out. So perfect timing. And we'll be back after the sponsor. All right. So Dr. Lois Frankel is so super amazing. She is one of what I consider a mentor leader, and she's been an amazing coach for many, many years. And I just completely admire her, because when she talks about speaking up and standing out and using our voices so that this way we can grow and flourish, especially as women. Just in a little bit of review, we've been talking about finances and wealth. They're really an exercise in your mental strength, exercising your mental strength. So we talked about being open-minded and coachable so that we can become financially fit. We need to take time to gain clarity, to get organized, to write and journal intentionally our desired outcomes. Because this way, it's you leading and mastering the skills, you being the leader of your money, you being the master of your mental mindset. It does create, we talked about the Atomic Habits by James Clear, so that this way you can create resiliency, persistency, energy, because it is kind of like being like the Energizer Bunny, outlasting the rest of the crowd, the rest of the pack. Not in a negative way, not to outrun them, but just to keep your energies up, to keep yourselves running so that you can break through any past hardships or stories that are holding you back to become lessons learned, lessons shared, so that we can you can be aware, have your awareness, shift your attitude if needed or elevate it, and then take that action step so that you can break through all those potential challenges and obstacles. We've seen many this year. And never settle less for less than you deserve, right? Do what you're loving, what moves you in your heart. Because spending time doing what you love leads to great work and fulfillment. And when you share these experiences and step into your greatness and show up, like I said, we end up looking up, right? Focus in a positive fashion, right? Step out, be a little bit uncomfortable. I'm going to say, even doing a program such as this is something that is not in my norm. So it is something where I'm stepping out because I want to show up for you. I want to share and I want to be of service because I believe we all learn from one another's stories. And then I just let you decide. If it's for you, it's right for you. If it touches one person, it's made a difference. Each one of us was created to share our stories so that we could elevate others, so that we could step into our greatness and lead them to do so. And for me, I'm surrounding myself always with things I love, which are definitely self-development books, because we're constantly learning and growing every day of our lives. We get to consciously create our own empowering money story, and then we get to live it. How cool is that? Can you imagine if, as children, when we were in school, we're taught not to daydream? Can you imagine if we were encouraged to dream, to write those dreams down, to talk about the steps that it would be take to make them, to be guided, nurtured, and loved so that we can flourish? I think the world would be full of so many, and is actually full of so many new developments in the world. When we look at the technology, if nothing else during this time, we have been blessed by having this technology so that we can share, so that we can express our intentions, open up doors of opportunity. Maybe someone will come support you. Maybe you'll be able to show up to support them. You get to honor yourself and leave a a very powerful legacy while you are still here on earth. Legacies are not just to be left while you're not here. There are people that are creating legacies right now. We see them changing, developing the world. Look at the Elon Musks and just of the world that just have these visions that they put to in action. They have this, they become aware of it, they have a can-do attitude, and then it's next steps. They jump start in, no excuses. They just step in, they grow in every area of their lives. And we just get to start today. We don't have to wait for, well, now it's only a few days away, New Year's Day. We get to start in the next moment if we so choose. It's all about making that decision. I had a really cool, funny conversation recently with someone. We were working on a project, And we were talking about how sometimes making the decisions is the hardest part for us. And I remember one of my very, very first learning lessons, because I'm the gal who, when you would go out to the restaurant and, I get the menu, I wanted everything on the menu. I could never decide. It always took me forever. And when I picked the first thing, I'd change my mind to another thing. And it reminds me, I may be dating myself, but many have seen the Lucille Ball episode where they all go out to a restaurant. They're sitting at the table. It's Lucy, Ricky, Ethel, and Fred. And Lucy's like, oh my God, I want to have a nice, juicy steak. And she's like, I know what I want. And everybody's at the table shocked. And she's like, yep, I'm good. I've made my decision. And then Ricky talks about ordering some scrumptious pork chops with gravy and applesauce and homemade mashed potatoes. And Lucy's mouth is watering as he's rattling off what he wants. And she changes her mind. So comes to Ethel, and Ethel starts talking about the meatloaf that they had at the restaurant and orders that. And Lucy changes her orders to meatloaf. And Fred was like, okay, I'm going to have some roasted chicken. And Lucy goes, oh gosh, I think I'm going to have that. And then it gets back, they're already done. The waitress has taken their order. She's about to walk away. And she goes, no. I have changed my mind. I'm not sure which one I want. And everybody's like, oh my gosh. I don't know if you've ever been that person. So one of the lessons I learned is how you do small things is how you do big things, right? Starting with those atomic habits. So if it's ordering from a menu, it could be as simple as soon as you open the menu and you start to read down the list, your eyebrows, so it's becoming aware, your eyebrows bounce up, right? It's creating an awareness. And you might go, that sounds good. And you may just be saying that in your head. That's where you stop. You just commit to that, and then you just surrender and let go. And I know it seems silly about what does ordering from a menu have to do with lessons around our money? Well, once we get what we like down, our awareness, our core values down, we're aware of what they are, we make a commitment to keeping organized or managing our time around, because time is money as well. And we just make our decisions and then let go. We'll find that we really had been holding on to things that were never necessary, and you get more time back in that surrender. So wealth is not built in a day, right? So you need to be persistent. Money is part of our everyday lives. So you get to be like a river that cuts through a rock, not because it's powerful, but because it's persistent. Success can happen at any given day with more persistence and more effort. Each step brings you closer to glorious success. And, you get to define what success is. But if you don't make it clear, then how do you know? So I love using tools to help expand my knowledge. So there's a couple of books here. They're there, and they're also here. And look at how skinny this is. My favorite book right now is The One Word That Will Challenge Your Life. It's my favorite book every December, because every December I go through this book and go through a process of having a word come to me that will be my focus of my next year. So this past year was the word fun. And in having fun, I got to create just a quick 20-minute presentation so people could learn about their 5 financial superpowers and how they could implement them. And so one of the cool things is I used the superheroes and named them purpose, protection, perseverance, and preservation, and prosperity. The villains, right? So the superheroes are the League of Unlimited Possibilities. The villains are the part of the corruption crew. And are you going to have the corruption crew keep on coming after you? The way to stop them is by implementing the superhero powers, and that can start with your superpowers can be your values, right? So those villains in life, they can be fear, doubt, self-criticism, ignorance, excuses. Don't let them come after you. Don't let them take over. We have so many powerful tools in this day and age. If you want to learn more about the community of Wine Women Wealth, this is a great book. Learning about other women's experiences and learning that your story might be in here too. If you want, this book is called The Retirement Miracle by Patrick Kelly. One of my favorites because it's such an easy read on how to create an aspect of your life like wealthy people do. It's like the secret that wealthy people knew, and you get to too. So I call it not the retirement miracle, but the retirement freedom miracle for your financial freedom lifestyle. And that is like your word for the year. So if you want to take a little deeper dive and look forward into the next 5 years, you're ready for that. It's where will you be 5 years from today? And if you see these books, they're really skinny. Like they're not even any thicker than my finger. An hour to create a shift. Start with your top values. Choosing your mission and personal mission statement. You know, the word balance is beautiful, but balance, I look at it when you have one of those scales, like when we see, like for lawyers and judicial, you see the balance or the scales go back and forth. So sometimes one side's higher than the other. And guess what? That's okay. Knowing that life will hold different experiences, you get to go through them at that time and create and shift when the balance isn't going in your direction. You get to course, what I call course correct. You know, life is full of different aspects: spiritual, family, career, health, financial, educational. I mean, I could go on and on, relationships. There's just so many aspects to our wheel of life. So we get to start thinking around every aspect. And again, the awareness that we can think big, infinite possibilities, unlimited possibilities. One of my dreams is to cut the bankruptcy rate due to medical related issues in half in the next 10 years. And maybe you have a mission to create a better relationship. I would love for relationships to be better, to be stronger, to use the tools that I'm talking about, to become a coachable creator, to exercise that mental strength, to reinforce those neural pathways in the possibilities that you can do, creating the steps and the accountability by journaling, by using that rod of discipline, right? The respect, the order, the discipline that we need to step up, stand out, show up, serve others, surrender, and step into our greatness, using tools that we have simply at our hand. So, how will you change the world? Ask the question, and your brain will answer. Haven't you ever had a question where you were talking about a movie and you couldn't think of the actor's name and you knew it right on the tip of your tongue or on the tip of your brain, and you said, I will know it, I will answer it, I'm going to, and maybe 24, 48 hours later when you're showering or in the middle of your sleep, you're like, oh my God, I remember. Well, our brains are hardwired to answer the questions we ask. So ask empowering questions and trust your crazy ideas. You know, find someone that supports you, believes in you, because it's the crazy ideas that have revolutionized the world. How are you going to revolutionize your small part of the world? Is it just by simply being positive and smiling at people every day to make sure you create a positive feeling in someone each day? Or is it, you know, like the Wright brothers, to create airplanes that big flying objects that carry people from around the world. I can only imagine what the people of their time thought of them. And crazy ideas are only crazy in the beginning until they become effective, and then it's just part of the status quo, just like the technology of today. So I want you to open up, be coachable, be the creator. And it starts with the last step that I want to talk about, in the sense of you get educated. It's super simple. We're learning every day. Find a role model, right? Learn and master the skills. If money is what you want to master or elevate, then create streamlined ways to create more abundant wealth, so that this way you get to create more choices. Maybe do some philanthropic work and serve others. Get ready for the opportunity to present itself. Because what happens if the opportunity presents itself and you're just not ready? You may have had that experience. I know I have. But if you're ready, not only do you prosper and benefit from the knowledge, the talents, and the expertise over the years, but others get to too. So you get to live this life of abundance. And I talk about it as really just having an attitude, being aware of your resources. As I was showing you today, check out mamaritamoney.com if you want to learn more about money. Check out the free resources that are available to you. Wine, Women, Wealth, for mindset, for community building. Be resilient. Just keep showing up. Keep looking up. Keep moving forward. Baby step by baby step. You will see it will revolutionize how you change, how your life is, how it can change from a life of scarcity to a life of abundance and overflow, almost so much so you don't even know what to do with it. All because you're mastering the relationships with your money, with yourself, and with those around you. I love, 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 love sharing my resources. So much so that we've created a program called the Money Education Immersion Movement. It's basically learning what you should have learned from kinder to college in a college semester time frame for a college semester fee. And in 24 hours, you will know more than 90% of Americans in our nation. So that was one of my big dreams. I want to share that dream with you because I want to expand that and share that out to changing the lives of millions of individuals and millions more by sharing with their families, scholarshiping their children into these programs, and getting all of us educated. I don't know what your dream is, but whatever your dream is, my prayer and my wishes for you are abundant blessings, that you access the resources. Now become aware of what that purpose is. Utilize the resources, become resilient so that you can revolutionize the relationships you have in the world to step into your greatness around your personal stories, around your money, around your family, and within yourself. I want to say thank you for taking the time to check this out. Otherwise, I'm going to say good night. And if you'd like to see more, check out or know more and learn more about Mama Rita, check out mamaritamoney.com or go to LinkedIn and check out my page. Really, it is time to feel good about money and create that positive experience so that you too will flow in abundance and get to share that abundance overflow with others. And with that, I really pray that you have a wonderful and happy and blessed and safe and healthy new year. And with that, we'll have a good night.